The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
For the king! For the king! For the king!
Actually gonna make him king? Listen to me, citizens of Shechem, so that God may listen to you. One day the trees went out to anoint a king for themselves. They said to the olive tree, "Be our king." But the olive tree answered, "Should I give up my oil by which both gods and humans are honored to hold sway over the trees?" Next, the tree said to the fig tree, "Come and be our king." But the fig tree replied, "Should I give up my fruit, so good and sweet, to hold sway over the trees?" Then the tree said to the vine, "Come and be our king." But the vine answered, "Should I give up my wine, which chairs both God and humans, to hold sway over the trees?" Finally, all the trees said to the thorn bush, "Come and be our king." The thorn bush said to the trees, "If you really want to anoint me king over you, come and take refuge in my shade. But if not, then let fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon." Have you acted honorably and in good faith by making Abimelek king? Have you been fair to Jeroboam and his family? Have you treated him as he deserves? Remember that my father fought for you and risked his life to rescue you from the hand of Midian. But today, you have revolted against my father's family. You have murdered his 70 sons on a single stone and have made Abimelech, the son of his female slave, king over the citizens of Shechem because he is related to you. Have you acted honorably and in good faith toward Jeroboam and his family today? If you have, may Abimelech be your joy, and may you be his too. But if you have not, let fire come out from Abimelech and consume you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo, and let fire come out from you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo, and consume Abimelech.
So far in Judges, we've seen how Israel's sins led them to be oppressed by other nations and foreign rulers. This week, however, we are going to see a slight change. Abimelech, one of Gideon's sons, decided to rise up and seize power for himself. This choice, however, came with serious ramifications, as we are going to see. This week's episode is based on Judges 9. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back again to another episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, like, share, and subscribe. Also, if you like it, share it with a friend or family member. We definitely appreciate that. Like I said in previous podcasts, we are definitely trying to grow our reach, and you guys play a big part in that. If you listen on Spotify, fill out the question or the poll that we may have with this episode. We're still working on how to do that. So, thank you all for tuning in. So, quick thought, prayer works and prayer changes things. I don't know what you guys are going through, but the Bible tells us in many, many verses that, pray, bring all your prayers and your cares, anxieties to God. Pray without ceasing. With prayer, thanksgivings, bring all your supplications before him. And so, a lot of people question if prayer actually works, but it really does. And it doesn't have to be all high and mighty, for lack of a better words, or so like holier than thou. Like sometimes I like to think about it as like talking to a friend, but you know, you still have that reverence, but like just like, hey God, this is what I'm going through. And sometimes prayers are just quick, God help me. I think that's a prayer. Like you're literally asking God, whatever I'm going through right now, God help me. God, I need you. And that's a prayer. But like literally like bring it all before him, and he listens and he does act. So
hey, man, my wife just last week, she had to travel, like the airline she was flying with, they had mass cancellations, and so she had to book with somebody like the day, like less than 24 hours before. She had to book a flight, you know, pretty costly, and because she had like appointments and stuff, you know, in the city where she was going. And we do all that, get up 5 a.m. the next morning, you know, just to go. And long lines everywhere at MCO airport. And she wasn't able to check
office. Keep going.
And she wasn't able to check her bag, you know, so she had to take her check bag all the way to the gate. And so so she had to throw away all her liquids, you know, and it's like she does cosmetology, so it's like certain things are products that you literally need, you know. And she gets all the way to the gate, and you know, she, you know, make sure they check the bag at the gate, all that, flies to her destination, comes back, no bag. But she's already late for her appointment. She was supposed to make it there the day before, but like I said, the flight was canceled. So she had to go throughout her day, you know. She calling the airlines, no bag. Oh, wow. No bag. She calling MCO, you know, she calling RU, you know, nobody knows where this bag is, period. And it's like, it's such a snowball effect, because if the first airline didn't cancel, she wouldn't have to do this. And now you have no clothes. You understand what I'm saying? Like everything was a check bag. I don't even think she had to carry on. She has nothing. Mm-hmm. And she told me that like she even had a wedding ring packed in her bag, but by the grace of God, she put it on. You know what I'm saying? And so the following day, you know, this day 2 of no bag, you know, we talk about it, and I'm sure she was praying. But throughout the day, it dawned on me, like, oh, let's pray for this bag. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't affecting me because I'm home cozy and I have all of my needs and supplies. I'm home. You understand what I'm saying? But I felt for her, because I'm like, man, that's such a bad experience to go through. And I shot up a prayer, and we both prayed together. And by the end of that day, she went physically to the airport in Carolina, where she was at, and she saw the bag in one of the rooms for the airline. Nobody was there at the time. Everyone was on break. And when she approached the person when they came back, he said, "Yo, I don't know where this bag came from. Crazy. Nobody checked this bag. This bag was in here this morning. This bag just appeared here." Now, I'm not saying that the bag just poof, you know what I'm saying? Although God can do that, you know what I'm saying? He's a miracle working God. But at the end of the day, just the power of prayer, you know?
Exactly. I mean, just like, man. And so, and then we gonna get to the episode. Don't worry, guys. But like, prayer is a really important thing, because I don't know why, like, even beginning of this, like today, before we was recording, like someone was like, yo, just talk about prayer. Just talk about the importance of prayer at the beginning. Tell you, sometimes the Holy Spirit just move in different ways. But I'm like, even with that, like when I was younger, and even up to now, I used to have people talking about, you know, God, we released the heavenly host to do this and that and that. And I was like, bro, what y'all praying for? Like, what? But I'm just saying, this is the power of prayer. So like, you know, you're talking to God, and like things, like we serve a miracle working God. Like God is controlled of everything that is humanly possible. So for a bag to appear, like no one knows where that bag come from. Definitely, we know probably it came on the plane or something right before. No one to even have track of this bag. Who knows, the bag could have, an angel probably could have dropped off that bag, and that's not far-fetched to say. You know what I'm saying? Like things like this can happen.
And to those who lack faith, it might sound like, oh, this is a fairy tale, X, Y, Z. And let's say, and some people will argue, bro, it's a completely logical explanation, X, Y, Z. But guess what, bro? By the grace of God, whatever had to happen for that bag to come there, bro, the Lord orchestrated it to happen. And it did not happen the day before. She was literally in the airport at the carousel, no bag. And there wasn't a lot of people on her flight. You know, she stuck around and, you know, she was at the first gate. Say, should my bag be here? No, it should be on the carousel. She go to the carousel, no bag. You understand what I'm saying? And so at the end of the day, bro, you know, the Lord is faithful. you know, and even in the story today, all throughout Judges, we can see where, you know, there are consequences for your actions, regardless of the situation. You do bad things, there are blessings and curses that come about because of your actions, basically. But then the people of Israel pray unto God. First of all, they reverse what they're doing that's bad, you know, change behavior, right? And then they cry out to God. And often you hear where God just like, I can't take this no more. Like, I can't stand to see my people being suffering like this, you know? And that's the power of prayer. Like even the verbiage might not say, hey, they prayed unto the Lord, or they might say that. But we know crying unto the Lord, that's prayer. And we know, and that's such a good example because it wasn't I don't want to say they were on bad terms, but they were on bad terms because you're supposed to reverence God and respect him and worship him. Instead, you slap him in the face by worshiping these man-made gods. I just Googled what these gods look like, bro. I'm like, oh, this is pathetic. But anyway, right? And the Lord is upset about that. The Bible says that, and you all are punished because of that. But even though you all are being punished and you all have done something punishable, when you pray unto God, he is righteous enough to show you mercy.
And remain faithful. This reminds me of something I was reading this week in 2 Timothy. So 2 Timothy 2, I just pulled it up. 2 Timothy 2, starting in verse 11. Here's a truth-worthy saying. This is Paul writing to Timothy. If we died with him, Jesus has already died at this point, so just for context, if we died with him, we will also live with him. If we endure, we will also reign with him. If we disown him, he will disown us. If we are faithless, he still remains faithful, for he cannot disown himself. And to me, like what we were just talking about like how the children of Israel were just going through their whole progression, crying out to God for help, but they were still disowning God. They were still faithless, but through it all, God still remained faithful to his promise that he kept, that he made to Abraham centuries ago at this point. You know what I'm saying? So like they say, he can't disown himself. Like, you guys may disown me, but I'm still God. I'm still true to who I am. Remember back in episode like 17 or something when we're talking about Moses, like how Moses, like what Moses did to like go to God, like, God, this is your character. And God's like, yeah, you're right. You know what I'm saying? Like God can't change who he is. So like going back to Kaz's example, like prayer works, and through whichever divine power that God will use to orchestrate and make that prayer happen, when you pray out earnestly and you have that faith, this is the next thing. When you pray, have faith. Like a lot of people pray and don't really have the faith to support that prayer. And whereas that's a whole different conversation for another day. But I'm like, when you're praying, like pray in faith. Like don't, like you praying for someone to like live or get through a disease or something, like don't like praise him in advance, like pray with like that faith and that joy, like God, like I know you have the healing power to make this happen. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So that like prayer works, guys. Definitely pray. I encourage everyone to pray and pray more often. Like the Bible says, pray without ceasing. And so I personally internalize like have a lifestyle of prayer, but to me, that's also like definitely means like I know Kazi had an example of one of his college mates who was a very prayer warrior-esque person.
He's a fervent prayer.
Yeah. So, but I'm like, yeah, definitely pray. So last week we ended the story of Gideon, and we see how Gideon was able to, conquer his enemies with his army of 300 people who drank like lapping dogs.
That's so funny.
But then we see at the end how Gideon didn't start. He made an ephod of gold, put it up on a pole, had people looking at it, had people admiring it. It pretty much became an idol to the people. How he pretty much set himself up as a king, named his son, my father is King Abimelech, who we're actually going to talk about today. And how he just ended up having this lavish lifestyle. Yeah, he did a lot for the people of Israel to like try to bring them closer to God, but his lifestyle, the things he did at the end started to take them back away from God. And so, I mean, I don't know if you have anything else to add to that recap, but that was a pretty high level view recap. Definitely check out the past 2 episodes to get a better understanding of Gideon.
Yeah, I mean, Gideon remind me of myself in a way where it's certain things where as a follower of Christ, as a known follower of Christ, it's like I want to do things in the world, but I want it to be said on paper that I'm not living like that. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like I kind of follow. I kind of walk on a line. You understand what I'm saying? And everything that I do that's crossing the line is done in a way where it's like, if you confront me about it, I can talk my way out of it and show you, oh no, that's not really what it was. You know, like how some people gaslight you when you have an argument, and when you bring up the point and how this is offensive.
For the people who might not know what gaslight means.
Yeah, no, that's like kind of when people undermine what you're saying, and they kind of speak to you as if you're the problem. It's like kind of narcissistic in their approach, of, like the way they handle conflict and stuff. But what I'm saying is this, right? You have this guy, he's like, oh no, I don't want to be king. I don't want to be king. But I do want to put up a golden statue, in my honor. I don't want to be king. I don't want to be king. But I do want to name my son that my father is king. Like now, if Abimelech had said, hey, change my name to this because I look at you as a king, that's a different story. But unfortunately, kids don't usually get to name themselves. You know what I'm saying? But if someone was to turn around and say, Abimelech, why are you acting as if you're the king when God should be king? He'd say, well, how am I acting? Like he can like legally say, how am I acting like king? I told you all I don't want to be king. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if y'all decide to worship me as king, that's your business, But so like on paper, he's doing everything to check the box to say he's not taking the glory for himself. But it's like his actions are questionable, and it's kind of leading people to treat him the way that he's saying that he doesn't want to be treated. And I say that kind of reminds me of myself in some ways where I like, because it's a big responsibility to be a minister, and I haven't dove completely into this boat like, oh yeah, me, like, you know what I'm saying? Because I still respect this ministry, and I respect ministry in general, and I'm terrified by the thought of leading people astray.
Oh, same.
And so like, even the things that I still struggle with, or the things that I'm not struggling with at all, but I just haven't given up, I try to be slick about it. And that's really reminding me of Gideon. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if you confront me, I can say, well, no, that's not what that means. It's like you misinterpret it, but deep down in my heart, that's really what it means. I feel like that's human nature. But now we see another person, a child of Gideon. In fact, Gideon had 70 sons, if you all remember. He had 70 sons alone, and we just taking up on the we taking it from the generation right after Gideon.
70 sons is so much. I can't even fathom what it's like to have 70 children. 70.
All right.
First line. This isn't your grandchildren here.
Nope.
Anyway, so we're taking from Judges 9 today. So picking up in Judges 9, verse 1. Abimelech, son of Jerubbaal, who is what was the other name of Gideon. Backstory on that, check last episode or 2 episodes ago at this point. Went to his mother's brothers in Shechem and said to them, to all of his mother's clan, ask the citizens of Shechem, which is better for you, to have 70 of Jerubbaal's sons rule over you, or just one man? Remember, I am your flesh and blood. When the brothers repeated all of this to the citizens of Shechem, they were inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said, he is related to us. They gave him 70 shekels of silver from the temple of Baal-berith, and Abimelech used it to hire reckless scoundrels who became his followers. Something like, oh my, we keep on going.
No. I see, bro. I don't know, bro. When I first read this story, not even first, every time I read the story, I misunderstood. I thought the brothers gave him the money, but it was the people of Shechem that gave him that money. And that makes sense because his mother, Abimelech's mother, was from Shechem. And so more than likely, his other brothers, they don't have direct ties to Shechem other than the fact that your father helped to save Shechem, this land, So they looking at it like, man, we don't want these 70 people to rule over us. We just want the one that's our nationality to rule. We want someone from our own to rule us. So that's interesting.
So it was like, this is a natural choice. Why not? He's a flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone.
Yeah, they literally say it in the next. in the next verse.
Yeah, so where was I?
I think we were on verse 3. I'm not too sure.
Okay, yeah. So when the brothers repeated all this to the citizens of Shechem, they were inclined to follow Abimelech, for they said he's related to us. They gave him the 70 shekels from the temple of Baal Bereth, and Abimelech used it to hire the reckless scoundrels and became his followers. He went to his father's home in Ophrah, and on one stone murdered his 70 brothers, the sons of Jerubbaal. But Jotham, the youngest son of Jerubbaal, escaped by hiding. Then all the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo gathered beside the great tree at the pillar of Shechem to crown Abimelech king. So we are 6 verses into this chapter, and we see how things have already taken a turn for the worse. It's like, hold on, you get the money. You get the money from Shechem, so you almost trick the people of Shechem. I'm going to present you guys for the option. That's not really an option because I know what you guys are going to choose. But if I just come on you and say, I'm king, you guys ain't going to like that. So let me just give you guys the option. You want 70 people telling you what to do, you just want one. All right, cool. You choose the one. And so now they give him like a little tribute offering or thank you offering or, hey, you're king offering. And so this man takes the people money of Shechem. And boy, Shechem is a town with a lot of history.
Yeah. It's a bloody history. But my thing is, that make me think that they give him the money to support his quote unquote campaign, his political campaign, bro. You know what I mean? Like, and by campaign, I mean to kill your brothers or do what you have to do to become king, you know? But that's insane because, you know, here we see Abimelech, he have this plan from the jump. These his brothers, but they ain't like a brother to him for real. Like, he don't look at them like his brothers, you know? Do we share the same daddy? But that's probably everything we share.
That's probably it. As far as think about it, if you have like 69 other siblings, how close can you be with all of them, bro?
But that's okay. So this was a point I was gonna make. When Jotham, I think, was the name that
the youngest son,
brother, right, bro? I could see how he could have escaped because if you killed 68 people, like it's kind of hard to say. Oh well, I guess after they all dead, you could do a body count. You understand what I'm saying? But you probably thought y'all got all 70. You know, you might have asked one of your scoundrel friends, "Hey, did you get Jotham?" And he'd be like, "The young one, yeah, I sure we get him." You know what I mean? And just don't worry about it. Or you could just be like, "He's the youngest brother. He don't, pose a threat to me," because the Bible don't say that he actually pursued Jotham at all. You know, but yeah, they definitely, there's, I don't know. He took away the competition, I would say.
Yeah. All of them. Like, which one do you think worse? Him by killing all the people, or these people who just see this murderous man and just crown him king?
I thought you was gonna ask who was worse, him for killing all his brothers, or Simeon and Levi?
Or Simeon and Levi.
For killing the whole town like centuries ago.
Who was worse?
I don't know. And that leads me to ask, like, oh, never mind. Yeah, I'd say Simeon and Levi was worse, but they all murderers, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, worse. It just like, what are we saying for real, bro? Like, they all murderers no matter what. Like,
yeah. So picking up in verse 7, when Jotham was told about this, he climbed up to the top of Mount Gerizim, and I think that's the mountain where
Moses.
Yeah, Moses. Yeah, that was the moment Moses' last speech, or he got the last thing. And shouted to them, "Listen to me, citizens of Shechem, so that God may listen to you. One day the trees went out to anoint a king for themselves." Trees went out to anoint a king for themselves. Like this was a parable before its time. They said to the olive tree, "Be our king." But the olive tree answered, "Should I give up my oil by which both gods and humans are honored to hold sway over the trees?" The tree said to the fig tree, "Come and be our king." The fig tree replied, "Should I give up my fruit so good and sweet to hold sway over the trees?" Then the tree said to the vine, "Come and be our king." The vine answered, "Should I give up my vine, which chairs both the gods and the humans, and to hold sway over the trees?" Finally, the tree said to the thorn bush, "Come be our king." The thorn bush said to the trees, "If you really want to anoint me over you, come and take refuge in my shade. If not, let fire come out of the thorn bush and consume the cedars of Lebanon.
Boy, so, all right. So instantly, what I'm getting from this was that the remaining brothers were similar to their fathers in that they didn't have a desire to be king. You know?
Mm-hmm.
So I might be taking this in the literal sense, but he turned around. So Jotham turned around and kind of give them context now. Like, this ain't a king that y'all really want, but this the best y'all could have do. And it's good. And y'all need to know this because y'all empowered that y'all have a king, but you have to remember, you asked all of the best of the sons to be king, and they all denied you. But now this one who y'all asked, he is a scoundrel himself, and he willing to do what it takes to become that.
Yeah, I mean, so like even going back onto your point, so like definitely how I read it was that, so the bigger trees, the more important trees or species were like, bro, we have it good. We're not interested in becoming king and ruling over everybody. And that's why I focus on the thorn bush, right? So first of all, who even wants a thorn bush in their yard? Unless it's like a rose, but let's just say, anyways, we don't want a thorn bush in our yard because no one wants to get pricked.
We had a rose bush in our yard, bro. When I was learning to ride my bike, I fell many times directly on the thorn bush, bro. Like, to me, the roses wasn't even worth it, bro. Like for real, though.
So like you're saying, until the thorn bush come be our king. And you see the thorn bush was the only one who was like, sure. But then he said, take refuge under my shade. And you're like, hold on. What bush? Think about it. It's already a bush. What bush is high enough to offer anybody shade? That's the next thing. So it's like the whole thing is just almost idiotic and ironic. Like it's not offering anybody shade because it's a low bush, and especially to trees. So when you look at this whole analogy of this whole parable, as I'm going to call it, you have like mighty trees. When you picture each time I picture a tree, for some reason I picture a coconut tree. I don't know, just because I'm from the islands, but I just picture a big coconut tree. You know what I'm saying? I don't even really like coconuts like that, but I picture a coconut tree. Something in a big coconut tree and a little bush. How could a bush offer any coconut shade?
See, all right, but outside of the rose, right? Just think about a thorn bush, right? What is the functionality of this thing? Because he went and showed you, like, you know, you go and ask the oil tree, you know, like, to me, that's like metaphor for the king or one of Gideon's sons that is talented, you know, has a lot going for you and does a lot and can do a lot for you. You understand? They say supply gods and humans with oil or however he said. He said the same thing with figs. It's the sweetness of it. And then the vine, the wine for gods and humans or whatever. The thorn bush, he didn't even say what the thorn bush can be good for. You know what I'm saying? Like, because
go for it.
No, because in this analogy, it's not good for anything.
And then too, like, it also shows that if you disagree with me, what's going to happen? Like, let the fire come out and consume you. So it's like, if you don't even see things my way, I'm coming to, like, it's going to kill you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't nothing good from this. Not only that I can't provide you shade, he said, but if not, if you don't come over here, the fire will consume you from out of me. I just showing you like the wrath and we can see, because think about it, like, this is the son that just escaped. So he's seeing this firsthand. And this whole part, I'm even surprised at his courage right now to come up on this hill place just to talk about this. Like, hey, guys, I have a message for you. We have a new king. But here's what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about in this parable. So he who has ears, let him hear. Go for it.
Yeah, because the way I see it, I figure he probably was far enough where no matter what, I have such a head start that y'all can't catch me. Because he was up on that mountain or whatnot, you know? Because I was thinking about that too. I was like, bro, like, this is a needed word, bro. But this is you in bro, you supposed to get killed no matter what. No matter if it's provoked or not, bro. But now you giving him a reason to want to kill you.
I don't think he's saying, guess what? A price on my head regardless, because I was already supposed to die. So if I know my days are numbered, let me get out this word, at least give you guys something to think about. So even after I am dead, you guys might rethink your decision. Because, I mean, if we keep going in verse 16, have you acted honorably and in good faith by making Abimelech king? Have you been fair? I'm going to just say to Gideon and his family. Have you...
That was really his name, though, bro. That's just crazy.
I know, right? He get the second name after the fact.
But they calling him in the Bible, bro. That's what I say, bro. Like,
that's his name, Jerubbaal. Anyway, have you treated him as he deserves? Remember that my father fought for you and risked his life to rescue you from the hand of Midian. But today you have revolted against my father's family. You have murdered his 70 sons on a single stone. We got to talk about the stone in a bit. And have made Abimelech, the son of his female slave, plot thickens, king over the citizens of Shechem, because he is related to you. So have you acted honorably and in good faith toward Gideon and his family today? If you have, may Abimelech be your joy, and you may be his too. But if you have not, let the fire from Abimelech and come out from Abimelech and consume you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo, and let the fire come out from you, the citizens of Shechem and Beth Milo, and consume Abimelech.
So one thing that's important, what I like about this, because this is a prophecy. If y'all are acting honorably, y'all gonna be fiery towards Abimelech. No, if y'all have not acted honorably, the fire from y'all gonna try to consume Abimelech, and the fire from Abimelech gonna consume you, or vice versa, regardless. But here we could, and then further on in the story, we could see how they both were at odds. You understand what I'm saying? It was mutual, like they were mutually at odds.
Yeah, they were not a match made in heaven. Let's just say that.
Jotham's like, I'm about to die, but I gotta get this poem off.
Might as well.
I gotta get this poem off my chest first, bro. He was quite a way with words. He would have convinced me, you know.
But
he definitely didn't convince the people of Shechem, though.
But still, though, going back to your point, do you think, like, how you think this stone was set up for all of them to die there?
Yeah, bro. See, my thing is, I'm assuming he would have met with all of his brothers at one time at that stone, and then his scoundrels might have surrounded them and snuck all of them and just get the killing. Because I'm like, bro, you lead all of your brothers to the stone one by one, or maybe in groups, and it was successful almost every time, with the exception of one time. Like, I don't know. I think probably he met with everybody at once.
That's the only thing it could be, huh? Because that would avoid them from telling you, well, I guess we're about to die. Who would tell the next person?
Who really could tell no one for real? But then you could put two and two together, bro. Like, if my full brother going up there, he ain't ever come back.
He ain't come back. And you send them for me. Yeah. He might have had like a little family reunion and try and invite everybody.
Yeah. But then, the Bible has used the term scoundrels. I'd say gangsters. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I think about, bro. Like, y'all a bunch of violent criminals. You know? So, these ain't no jokers, bro. And these criminals for hire. They might be hitmen, you know, they might be skilled, you know, and that's his team. That's his team, bro. So they probably didn't stand a chance, man.
Yeah, I don't think especially think about it now, like, if a close family member calling you over and you saying, we're about to have a family reunion or something, you ain't really coming there with your suspicions up.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, even if it's like a sleazeball, for lack of a better word, you'd be like, yeah, I expect him to kill me.
If it's my brother, I comment, you know what I mean? Like,
I expect him to kill me.
I have half brothers, like, if they hit me up, you know, and I'm able to, you know, I'll slide too. You know?
Yeah.
But if I see any scoundrels with them, I might.
Yeah, you start thinking twice. Like, oh, why are you here?
I've seen this before.
You might have had them laying in wait. They might not be in the immediate gathering, but then when he gave that little signal, a little cuckoo or whatever, you know, you want to call it, his little cat call, the signal was given. There was just an all-out bloodbath. So,
all right. So Abimelech is crazy, bro. This guy is crazy. We was talking with Simeon and them earlier. Simeon and them, they was about to kill one of their brothers. You understand? They was about to kill one of them. They had already killed many people for less. This guy killed many of his brothers, bro. His own brothers, though.
My thing is, did he even have to go through this extent? Because if you know they don't want to be it, right?
Not even that. They don't want to be it.
And if you was the only one from Shechem, let's just even say it's a little bit more from Shechem. But we clearly know, first of all, you wasn't the wife. You was the side chick.
Lawful, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you came from one of the, like the Bible says, what, slave girls, the son of a slave girl or something. So you see, like that was like a concubine. That's what the people he shouldn't have been sleeping with, but he slept with up. How you think the man gets 70 sons? We definitely know they all ain't come from one woman. I don't think that's physically possible. Anyway, so if your brothers don't want it, you're probably the only one from Shechem. So these people probably was going to make you king either way. Did you have to go through killing your brothers?
I don't think so. The only thing I can think of is if you start wreaking havoc, which is his intention, one of them or a few of them, especially being sons of Gideon, might interrupt that. So it would be smart to make sure you don't have to worry about them in the future.
Take your competition now early.
Yeah, but I don't think it was necessary, bro. Like your kingdom is not a threat, bro. You send message with your mother's family, the people in Shechem, and they was unanimous. Yeah, bro, I'd rather you over the 70.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They already anoint you king. I mean, they pretty much already anoint you king. They already like
they give you money and everything.
Anyway, so now go for it.
Yeah, he just had a bloodlust, bro. Like
a super bloodlust. So in 21, then Jotham fled, escaping to Beer, and he lived there because he was afraid of his brother Abimelech. So now we see, I guess he just was laying low for these 3 years because, in picking up in verse 22, after Abimelech had governed Israel for 3 years, God stirred up animosity between Abimelech and the citizens of Shechem. So they acted treacherously against Abimelech.
So I want to say the people of Shechem heard the message of Jotham. It made sense. It was factual based. And the 3-year period would have given you all enough time to make a decision as to if you all going to keep him as king or you always can, undo what you all did. 3 years, things was looking good. The reason why I say things was looking good, because this line shows contrast. The Lord stirred up animosity towards them, ill will, so to me, it wasn't ill will before. I was living good for these 3 years.
And then I just wanted to, it's just important to point out how we can see his rule was a little bit more tyrannical than the other judges, because you see the Bible clearly saying, it depends which version you see. You'll see reigned over them for 3 years. Governed is the one this book used. Others had I forget, but it's like you see governed, you see ruled, you see reigned. And this is the first time we've even seen this terminology with a judge, period. You know what I'm saying? Like it's really showing his judgeship or whatever the period of when he was in charge was more of I'm like one of the Canaanite kings, is essentially what he was.
He's like a dictator.
Yeah, it wasn't no peaceful reign. It wasn't no we're at peace. It was he's the new guy they have to cry out from almost.
Yeah, true. Because bro, I see. All right, so the book of Judges, right? It's a cause and effect. Y'all do this, and the effect is y'all being taken over. And the overall plot is that the Lord rose up people to save you all from the mess y'all brought y'all in, right? But him being an Israelite, we see where someone is going to have to save the Israelite people from him. You know what I'm saying? But this person was not a judge, so they don't get much shine, and we don't know much about this person. So definitely, you're right. He is ruling them in the same way that the Canaanites rule them, because they don't have peace here. And the Bible lets you know when something is peaceful under there, when the city is has peace under a judge's reign.
And then so in verse 24, we see God did this, put that spirit of ill will between them, or, stirred up that animosity between Abimelech and the citizens. God did this in order that the crime against Gideon's 70 sons, the shedding of their blood, might be avenged on their brother Abimelech and on the citizens of Shechem who helped him murder his brothers.
So here we see Jotham's prophecy fulfilling the fire between the two. And it wasn't a one-sided thing like the people revolt against Abimelech. No, it's the people against Abimelech and then Abimelech against the people. Yep.
In opposition to him, these citizens of Shechem set men on the hilltops to ambush and rob everyone who passed by. And this was reported to Abimelech. So now we're seeing they're setting up this plot. Everybody who come by here, we robbing. So this would be like, for one, this would reduce the number of people coming to the area, reduces the amount of wealth or caravans coming to trade with your city. So it's essentially almost laying like a prehistoric siege of such to the city. Because if people know you're going to get robbed, they ain't traveling that road no more. You know that kind of way?
I ain't coming there to get robbed.
Because we're going to travel. Yeah, that road to Shechem, you're going to get robbed.
That sounds like we had a product. The Good Samaritan was traveling where you get robbed that time. But my thing is this, right? And you know this isn't like internal because we have the citizens of Shechem set men on the hilltops. So you know they ain't robbing the citizens of Shechem. You know they have to be robbing other people. You know, because they don't say they're robbing themselves. But we're saying the citizens set people up there to rob people. So to me, that implies that these are outsiders, people traveling, etc. So they already they making Abimelech look bad because
you're supposed to be king.
Yeah, you're supposed to be king. You're supposed to be having your stuff in order, bro. Like who? Like other people will be looking at them like, wait, what type of place this is, bro? You and your people. Y'all biting, y'all shooting yourself in the foot. You know, like what's the point of that?
Man, this is a really interesting story. So now we see in verse 26. Now, Gaal, son of Ebed, moved with his clan into Shechem, and its citizens put their confidence in him. After they had gone out in the fields and gathered the grapes and trodden them, they held a festival in the temple of their God. While they were eating and drinking, they cursed Abimelech. Then Gaal, son of Ebed, who is Abimelech? And why should we Shechemites be subject to him? Isn't he Gideon's son? And isn't Zebul his deputy?
See, so now, hold on. So now at first, right, it was like, okay, my mom from Shechem, y'all want me to rule over y'all because I'm part Shechemite, right? But now we have another Shechemite who he's from a different land or a different city, but he's still a Shechemite. He's like, bro, ain't this Gideon's son? You know, Gideon wasn't a Shechemite. So they're looking at him like, bro, this dude ain't even a purebred Shechemite. Nah. It's so funny because like this is where the tables turn on you. You know, you build your campaign on the nationality, you know, like I'm different. I am one of y'all. And now the same thing people literally saying against you. Like, ain't this kid, son? Why you, like, who you even is, bro? Like, why we gotta listen to you? And then Jabul, or what his name is, Zebul, he catching stray bullets and all. Like, hold on, and ain't his deputy Zebul? And I'm just like, bro, Gaal is so brazen, bro. You in a city that is not your city, right? Of course, the people, they believe in you. They believe you can do it, right? But you talking crazy. Y'all at a party.
That's that liquid courage, bro.
Yeah, bro. You ain't no liquid courage. Talking about, bro. You talking about
the king.
You talking about the king and the deputy prime minister. Well, not prime minister. What would say the prince or the vice president,
the leader of the army at this point,
right? And I'm just like, bro, why you so brazen? Why you so brazen? Like. That just go to show how much they just did not respect these guys in power.
Exactly. I was going to say something, but I completely lost my train of thought. So, no. It's good. It's good. Like, Zebul. Anyway, so does it serve the family of Hamor, Shechem's father? Why would we serve Abimelech? If only this people were under my command, then I would get rid of him. I would say to Abimelech, call out your whole army. So, Zebul.
Heavy, bro.
The governor, so that was his title, the governor of the city, heard what Gaal, his son of Ebed, said. He was very angry. Undercover, he sent messages to Abimelech saying, Gaal, son of Ebed, and his clan have come to Shechem and are stirring up the city against you. Now then, during that night, you and your men should come and lie in wait in the fields. In the morning at sunrise, advance against the city. When Gael and his men come out against you, seize the opportunity and attack them. So now we see Abimelech and all his troops set out at night and took up concealed positions near Shechem in 4 companies. Now Gael, son of Ebed, had gone out and was standing at the entrance of the city gate, just as Abimelech and his troops come out from their hiding. When Gael saw them, he said to Zebul, "Look, people are coming down from the tops of the mountains." Zebul replied, "You mistake those shadows of mountains for men."
That is crazy, bro. My thing is, I gotta blame Gael because, like, just the man you talking about, bro. Why you trying to talk to him? Like, why you confide? Not really confide him, but why you think there's someone you can trust? You as a snake yourself, why you trying to trust him?
See, it might be 2 things, right? Firstly, at this party, he might have thought he was around like-minded individuals who he thought was on his side.
See, the like-minded people might have just don't like Abimelech. But now you bring in Zebul in it, you're like, hold on, that's my boy, bro. I can't, you know what I mean?
But what also gets me too, right? He bring in Zebul in it, right? Because now the Bible in a little bit more context for us. Clearly, Abimelech wasn't in the city, but Zebul was governor of this city. So now you in Zebul Providence talking about Zebul. Whereas against Abimelech, like you say, everyone might have been cool with it. But now one of his friends, family members, someone who might very well have a direct line to him, might have been there. You see, like someone went back to Zebul and tell them everything Ebed said. And he was like, "What?" Gael, son of Ebed, said. And you're like, "What? This can't, you talking about me like this? All right, I'm going to go tell Abimelech."
Yeah, I can set him up to get snuck, you know? But my thing is, I'm wondering, was Gael planning to attack that same day?
See, he might have been talking all that spike. See, clearly not. He said, if I had all these men, then I would tell Abimelech, bring out your whole army.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
True, so I'm saying,
because what I'm saying is, at the beginning of the day, right, him and all his men came out at the beginning, at the top of the morning too. But I don't know if they was just leaving the city or what. You know, they might have just been leaving the city and moving on. And Zebul, like, all right, they could be leaving the city at this time. So Abimelech, y'all set up there so y'all could just meet them as they coming out. You know, that's what I'm thinking.
You know, I'm trying to go back and just read to make sure. So in verse 35, it says now, so when Gael and his, so see, I think Zebul might have think Gael had extra men with him. That's how Gael was talking.
No, see, obviously Gael didn't have enough men. And he was drunk and he was talking like he had enough men, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just like, he was obviously leaving the city limits at that point in time. And Abimelech, Zebul told Abimelech enough information so that he could catch him right as he was leaving the city, so that he could come and they could brawl, you know. But I'm just wondering. I was just out of curiosity wondering why he might have been leaving the city.
I mean, because people got to leave the city to do business and other stuff. Like if you had like herds and stuff, all your herds would be outside of the city gate.
Yeah, and then he not from there too, so like.
Yeah, he might have, live outside of the city gate. Because back in those days, like you have the main city, but the city gate and the city walls that would close at night and open in the day. So like early in the morning, that's when the city gate would open. But when the city gate closed at night, you can't get back into the city all night. So if you didn't make it by that time, you trap out the city all night. So but ancient times was rough, bro. Like when that gate closed for the night. Like they ain't let no one in, they ain't let no one out.
Curfew.
That was legitimately curfew back in the day, but I should just keep the citizens safe. So I think he might just be insecure the day to go do business, probably in the next town or whatever, and then come back before the night out. So who knows? The Bible doesn't really give that much clarification why he was at the city gate, but we know he was like going out the city gate that day. And that's when he saw Zebul and decided to, let me talk to my boy Zebul. You don't know I was talking bad about him the other night.
Right.
So now we see
he might have been warning Zebul too, bro. It's, you see all them people coming over here. You know, because you're the governor. Yeah. I'm just a nobody, you know.
he tried to bring this to Zebul's attention. Yeah. Zebul's like, no, man, they shot us. What you talking about?
Oh, bro, you seeing things, bro.
Because we see Gael spoke up again. Look, people are coming down from the central hill, and the company is coming from the direction of the vinner's tree. I guess that was A tree of divination for those people who
guess.
practiced that kind of stuff back in the day.
Yep.
Then Zebul said to him, "Where's your big talk now? You
That sounds like a
said,"
Bahamian, bro.
I know,
Like,
right?
where them big dogs go? Where they going, bro?
Where all your mouth gone? Who was Abimelech that we should be subject to him? Aren't these the men you ridiculed? Go out and fight them."
Mm.
So Gael led out the citizens of Shechem and fought Abimelech. So he tried round up some troops. They coming to get me. Y'all come on my side. That's just how I picture it. Abimelech chased him all the way to the entrance of the city gate, and many were killed as they fled. Then Abimelech stayed in Arumah, and Zebul drove Gael and his clan out of Shechem. So the next day, pick it up in verse 42 now, the people of Shechem went out into the fields, and this was reported to Abimelech. So he took his men, divided them into 3 companies, and set an ambush in the fields. When they saw the people coming up the city, he rose up and attacked them. Abimelech and the companies with him rushed forward to a position at the entrance of the city gate. The 2 companies attacked those in the fields and struck them down. All that day, Abimelech pressed his attack against the city until he had captured it, killed its people, and destroyed the city and scattered salt all over it.
This ain't a sick mind to you, bro.
No, he
Like he going off the deep end at this point, bro. Like
an unquenchable bloodlust.
This is the kingdom that you rule.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And all right, so you see where they start making statements to you. They making a statement. They start robbing people and they conspiring against you. But you kill everyone in the city, like everyone. And then I don't know the symbology behind the salt, but you take the time to sprinkle salt over the whole city.
Because salt, when you put salt on earth and stuff, it causes the crops not to be able to grow. So you see that they were in the fields. So essentially, he killing all the people and he's saying, guess what? You know what? Essentially living here again because y'all can't grow nothing here no more.
Bro, but you see how spiteful this guy was, though. These are the people of your city.
And even for context for other people out there, we're going to see this when we get to Kings, but just in case we cross over this, in Kings with the king of Jeroboam or Jeroboam, one of them, I think it's in 2 Kings, you see, like after this, Shechem was not rebuilt for almost 2 centuries later.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that.
2 centuries, 200 years later. So after this attack, and that's what I'm saying, the importance of that salt and all them fields and stuff, bro, ain't nothing, you pretty much making this place unlivable. So not only you killing these people, you're saying, guess what? No one else is ever going to settle here again.
No one living here. And that's my thing, bro. Shechem. This is the second time this city get completely destroyed. Bro, and no lie, right? Because when I was reading this, I'm just like, the Bible could have not put the story of like Dinah in there. You know what I mean? Obviously it was important, right? But like to me, it wasn't really no resolve. She get raped, they kill a bunch of people, they run. God put fear in the surrounding city, so like there was no retaliation. But it wasn't like Simeon and Levi, they realized the error of their wrong, they repented or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But bro, that first story is so important because like you have to understand there's a history of stuff going on in Shechem and it's not ending. You know, like it continues, like it's really perpetual what happens in Shechem and I don't know, this is just kind of mind blowing. But the guy was in the actual city of Shechem. He didn't want to stop there. Abimelech.
No, there's more coming. Like this is like when someone snap.
Yeah,
and I don't want to use any like rare terms or anything, but this is when someone snapped, like when they jumped off the cliff of no return. Now they're really on a downward spiral. Go for it.
But you have to be so upset. Bro, it's not like you in a car, right? You can travel 70 miles per hour, XYZ, bro. This days and weeks and months. You got to be traveling to do all of these things. You got to be mad that whole time.
Bro, it's like, not even mad, it's like part of it might just be insecurity, because here's the thing. You already know what you did to get this position that you don't deserve.
Bro, I can shit, bro. When we get to this neck, my bad. Finish your point.
No, because I'm saying because when a lot of people get something they know they don't deserve, they have a hard time trying to keep on to that power, that authority, whatever. So like they go through so much weird things. They go through so much, like they try to do so much just to keep it. And they essentially ruling out of fear and anxiety at that point. So now you already see like this city rise up to try to come against you. They was talking about it. So now you're even more paranoid. Like you angry and paranoid at the same time. So when someone scared, there's no telling what they would do either.
Yeah, I think that's why, and I keep talking to this guy, but I think that's why Balaam ended up beating his donkey and just not getting the picture, because he was lost in the sauce. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? Like he was really deep. He was in too deep, and like you say, Abimelech, it's the same thing with him. You feel me? So, all right, so moving on, right?
On hearing this, the citizens of the Tower of Shechem went into the stronghold of the temple of El Berith. When Abimelech heard that they had assembled there, he and all his men went up to Mount Zalmon. He took an axe. Every time I read it, I say ox. I don't know why. He took an axe and cut off some branches, which he lifted to his shoulders. He ordered the men with him, "Quick, do what you have seen me do." So all the men cut branches and followed Abimelech. They piled them against the stronghold and set it on fire with the people still inside. So the people in the Tower of Shechem, about 1,000 men and women, also died. But wait, there's more. In verse 50, next Abimelech went to Thebez and besieged it and captured it. Inside the city, however, was a strong tower to which all the men and women, all the people of the city had fled. They locked themselves in and climbed up to the tower roof. Abimelech went to the tower and attacked it. But as he approached the entrance to the tower to set it on fire, a woman dropped an upper millstone on his head and cracked his skull.
Boy.
Bro, millstone's big, I just want people to like Google a millstone. I need to remember to put this on the YouTube picture, but millstones are huge, man. Millstones are huge.
Yeah, that'll crack a skull, bro.
Crack a skull, bro. That could squash a person.
But my thing is, bro, at what point will it end, bro? At what point will they get the picture? At what point would you say, all right, I'll show mercy? Abimelech was like, bro, like how earlier in these stories, like the Bible would say they completely uprooted their enemies, like they destroyed everybody leaving, not one person. Mm-hmm. Like this was his brothers all over again, with the exception of Jotham, of course, but he was trying to kill everything, bro. Everything. And to the point where, all right, we're ready to destroy the first section of the city. We put salt on there, completely destroy. And you go into this tower, we burn on it. All right, y'all want to stay up there? All right, we could burn on the tower. You understand? They go and run to another stronghold. You trying to burn that down? That's why I'm trying to show you, bro, how much time you have to go through, bro. You have to cut down branches, set afire all of these things. You know what I mean? Like this guy, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Abimelech was demonic, bro. Like this guy, no, real talk, bro. Mm-hmm. Like he was a homicidal maniac, because you are a king and you fighting your own people. And after you to kill them, who you can reign over? You know what I'm saying? Like I don't understand what your goal was. How have you no heart?
Where's your compassion?
Real talk.
So now we. And see, so this is where it gets, I shouldn't even say funny, but now we see, so this happens, his skull crack, I assume he on the ground, dying. He hurriedly called his armor bearer. Draw your sword, and pardon me?
I say, with a crack skull.
With a crack skull. Draw your sword and kill me. So they can't say a woman killed me. You on the ground dying, and that's what you're concerned about? What they're going to say killed me?
I can see why you say it's insecurities, bro. Like it's
because I'm like, at the end of the day, the story will be told. Like, yeah, the woman dropped the skull on you, and then you asked your armor bearer to run you through with a sword.
I wonder culturally, like how technical. All right, so when we play in dominoes, right? Mm-hmm. I could set you up for a compulsory block, right? Like, let's say you compulsory block, right? But then somebody else have a double sex. I hope Bahamas can follow me or whatever, right? Although it's a compulsory block, let me just say, I set you up to block the game, right? And the game will end now. Even though I force you to do that, once you play that card, you technically block the game.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? And so she set him up to die. So she basically put everything in place for him to die. She dropped his millstone in his head, cracked his skull. He would have died no matter what. But if we being technical, you know, he called your boy to draw his sword and kill him. So that if we being technical, you know, you could say, all right, a woman didn't kill me. He killed me.
He killed me. Yeah, he killed me.
I know, bro. Like, that don't make sense because we know Saul did the same thing. Like, when he saw that he was going to die by the Philistines, he tell his armor bearer, like, yeah, just kill me. And the armor bearer wasn't trying to do that. So he fall on his own sword. He fall on his own spear, you know? So I think that meant a lot. But my thing is, bro, when you're dead, bro, dog,
people gonna say what they want, bro. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean? Like shouldn't matter that much, but that's easy for me to say. I'm in their position, but he really did not want to be known as the guy who a woman killed. And yet, if you ask Nakhaz in the breath of fresh air, bro, a woman kill you, bro.
She definitely did.
Yeah, bro. So like, I know if you was trying to avoid it, but you didn't, you know?
So now we see when the Israelites saw Abimelech was dead, they went home. They're like, oh, okay, we're done here. So now in verse 56, God repaid the wickedness that Abimelech had done to his father by murdering his 70 brothers. So I guess there was 71 children.
You know, the Bible days, they speak hyperbolic sometimes. You know what I mean? Because this is the second time they was talking about Abimelech. When Jotham said, because Jotham earlier had said, like, you killed your 70 brothers. You know what I'm saying? So I think they just being general, you know.
God also made the people of Shechem pay for all their wickedness. The curse of Jotham, the son of Gideon, came on them. And so now we see it comes first full circle. Go for it.
No, that's how I just we can say that, bro. It all comes full circle. We can see what Jotham said and his instructions to them, you know, were useful, you know, and because they didn't, you know, obey or take heed to, you know, they end up getting the fire that Jotham spoke about.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it just shows that when men, or when human beings in general, because men, even though we use it to mean both women and men these days, it's just when human beings, they just cast up that fear of God, as we see with Abimelech, because there is no, because with all the other judges, even though we're saying he wasn't really a judge, but he was a judge, with all the other judges, we see how they at least had some interaction with God, or some following from God, or took some direction from God, at least some part, like divinely inspired. We don't see that at all with Abimelech. And I could be wrong, but I didn't see that at all. Like, God wasn't telling him to do none of this. This man was just rampage. And it's so crazy because, like, this was Gideon's son, but we know how Gideon's lifestyle was in the end. So he might not even have that example. He might just heard daddy did all these good things back in the day. But from what he saw, Gideon had all his children after his deeds. You know what I'm saying? Like, he got the quote unquote kingly Gideon and not the judgely Gideon. You know, the kind of way. He think about it. He never grew up knowing the Gideon who didn't have the faith to believe in himself. He didn't know the Gideon who was the least of the least. And I think, again, this goes for showing, like, you know, not really telling your kids where God has brought you from and the works of God, like where God has blessed you. But I'm saying, like, you can grow up with a lavish lifestyle, but it's like instilling those values that got you to this point into your children is so important. And we can see that Gideon didn't do that with Abimelech. I can't say he did it with not all of his children, but I personally can't possibly see a human being instilling values in 70 plus kids.
Boy,
I personally can't see it. So I'm like, you're living, and especially when you're living that lifestyle to produce 70 kids, I just don't see it.
Yeah. And you say you didn't really see how God instructed Abimelech to do any of this, but bro, like I was telling you off mic, when I think about the story of Abimelech, bro, I really just think about the devil. 100% the devil. That's why I didn't even hesitate to call him demonic earlier, because I think about the devil who wants Adam and Eve to think that, you know, you will be like us if you take this thing, you know? And then that same devil inspire Cain to kill Abel. You know what I'm saying? Like this guy, he might come off, he might talk a good talk, he might even do things for you. But at the end of the day, he really just want to kill you.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And when he could let his guard down completely, he can go crazy and start killing and killing and killing. I think about end time prophecy. You know, I think about when we're gonna be persecuted for our beliefs. We're gonna be persecuted by the person that comes down to say that they are Christ, but they are actually the Antichrist. So essentially, when the devil comes back to inspire the masses to follow him, he will in turn treat those who do not follow him the same way Abimelech treated all of those who did not follow him. You understand? He coerced you. Oh, y'all want 70 children, 70 kids to follow you, or y'all want one? Who is one of y'all? Talk a good game, you know. And when he actually get it, he was like a thorn bush towards them. He was like a tyrant. Fire and brimstone. And then when y'all decide to stand up for yourself or revolt, he gone even crazier. He take it a level that y'all wasn't prepared to take it, you know? And so that's like, to me, that's pure devil. That's like pure devil. Like, that's like a pure page out of his textbook, you know, to kill, hurt, and to destroy. Mm-hmm. That's his aim, you know, to do with everybody. And so, like, overall, this is a testament. All right, so another thing I was going to mention, right? A lot of judges in this book, once they drive out the enemies, you don't hear nothing about them. Deborah, so far, she had a song, you know. Baal, we hear about the last things he was doing, but they'd say something like they ran for 18 years, you know, it was peace. Mm-hmm. Bro, if everybody living peaceful, it ain't too much of a, bro, it's meaningless for us to be documenting this down, for real. It's when they get out of line and God have to get them, because we already know what God requires of us and how we should act. Mm-hmm. We already cover that. When y'all don't act like that, that's when we have to show y'all what happens when you don't act like that and what happens to get you back on track. We have a full outline of your boy of his reign. You know what I'm saying? And the bottom line is, that's because he did not follow God. The first leader so far in this book who just was not rooted in God.
At all.
And when we take God out of the equation, we end up in a situation just like the Israelites, where we have a leader, but we ain't being led nowhere. Abimelech, with the help of the people of Shechem, used the blood of his brothers to establish his kingdom. However, Jotham, the only surviving brother of Abimelech, tried to warn the city. In his prophecy, he stated to let fire come and consume the people of Shechem and Abimelech, if this kingdom had not been established honorably and in good faith. And so it was. A few decades later, there rose up a new leader that also predicted a fatal fire, but this prediction was no prophecy. But we'll talk more about Jephthah and the Israelites on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your host, Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks everyone, and we'll see you next week.